At times, it feels like justice in our country is on life support.
The dream of equality is alive. We can still hear free at last, echo in our souls. But sadly, our dream is yet to be realized.
There's so much work to be done, and that work is our purpose.
Our mission is to help rewrite the story of not just our city, but our nation.
We know that when justice is restored, so are people.
Imagine cities like yours uniting to find solutions to end injustice everywhere.
Together, we can reinvest in our communities.
Refocus our vision.
Reimagine our future.
We are a place. We are a people. We are a purpose.
We are ReCity.
I'm excited to welcome our next guest on the ReCity Chronicles. We have John Tallmadge, the Executive Director of Bike Durham. Bike Durham has been here at ReCity for a long time, since 2018, has been a key member of a lot of the things that we have done here in the meetings and in connecting and being part of the community. And so we've really enjoyed having John and Bike here, and are excited for an opportunity to hear from John a little bit about the work that Bike Durham does, as well as his own story in getting into this kind of work. So why don't we start there? Welcome, John. Glad to have you here. But can you tell us a little bit about what does Bike do? What is the work of Bike Durham? And then how did you, in particular, get involved in this?
Sure. Thank you for having me, and we really appreciate being part of the ReCity community. Bike Durham was founded in 2012 when there were a group of Durham residents who felt passionately about being able to ride their bikes on the streets. Some of them wanted to do it with their kids doing to school, or they came from other communities and didn't feel like the streets were safe enough for them to get around on bikes. And so they met for a while and really discussed, is the next step to create a nonprofit organization, and made that move in 2013. But it was all volunteer until 2020, when I was hired at the beginning of 2020. I think it's also important to point out that in 2018, moving into 2019, the board members at that time realized that the desire of the community and also, in order to make the streets safer for biking, the streets need to be made safer for everybody. And so the mission of the organization was broadened to safe, affordable, and sustainable transportation for everyone in Durham, regardless of who they are or where they live. And that means advocating for sidewalks and safe intersections and better transit so that everybody can get around.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I know that you guys have different programs that you do, some things happening in schools, some things that happen here as well in the parking lot. But then you also have large events, and I know advocacy is also a big part of what you're doing, like you just mentioned, in order to not just address specific bike transit, but also I know the work that you guys have done to make transit free, and how you've advocated for all of that. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the programs, some of the focus of what you guys do?
Yeah. So we work our mission through advocacy, education, and events. And the advocacy is really helping organize people, bring them together to raise their voices, to influence the city council, influence the county commission, influence the State Department of Transportation around those safety and great transit issues. The education has come through a partnership, and a lot of the credit goes to former board members who were doing this when they were all volunteer and bringing bike safety education to school kids in their PE classes. We have been able to grow that into a relationship where the city initially, now the Durham Public Schools, are funding our teams to go into, we get into about 12, 13 schools every year. So these are elementary schools, Durham Public Schools, and 3rd through 5th grade typically. And then we have a Strider program, which is for kindergartners to learn to balance And the great thing about those classes is it's not just about learning to ride a bike. It is learning resilience, it's learning cooperation, it's learning respect for your own body, for the bodies of other people around, for the instructors. What I've learned is that that's what all of PE is about, right? Is learning those things, and the bike safety is a great conduit for that kind of education. And then the third is really the events, and we could talk more about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I love about what you do. Maybe the thing that jumps out to me the most is what may have started out as a focus on bike safety and transit around the city has really extended to so many other things, especially giving voice and helping people who don't maybe typically have access to some of the resources, or maybe whether it's any type of transportation, or having the voice to be able to speak up, whether it's to the city, county, or at the state level. The advocacy work that you guys are doing, ReCity, why we started all of this to begin with was, a focus on justice and equity and making sure that people had opportunities and that everybody in Durham had an opportunity to thrive. And that comes out in the work that you guys do, whether it's showing up in the activities at Durham Public School or just the general work of making stuff affordable and accessible. So I really appreciate, the work that you guys are doing in that. Do you want to tell us about some of the events that you guys do? I know there's a big event that you guys typically have, among other things.
We do monthly community meetings where people where every month there are new people who are coming to it. They're curious about who Bike Durham is and what we're all about and how they might engage with us. Then May is National Bike Month. So we typically do a series of those. A lot of people who come to us and get deeply engaged do come because they love riding bikes, and whether they're a commuter or recreational rider. And so that's a big month for us. In the fall, we do an event called Movable City. And the past year, in 2025, we went into a partnership with the city and with the county's public health department to do it as an open streets event. So in the past, we've done it like at a single physical location, a few partners, had a celebration for a few hours. This was take a 1.2 miles through the heart of downtown, have those streets dedicated to just people walking, biking, and rolling for 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. We engaged more than 100 activity partners to come out, which was, seeing them in action was super fun. The skaters, the skateboarders, the folks who had stuff going on for kids was super fun. And also engaging more than 115 volunteers to make it all happen.
That's a big
and reaching out to North Carolina Central University students to help volunteer, reaching out to AARP and having seniors volunteer. It was just a wonderful day. And the feedback we already have is let's do it again next fall.
That's great. And I love how broad of a spectrum you pull from to get people involved. I think that's such a beautiful thing. If people want to be involved, and there's probably a few different layers or levels of involvement, either as a participant in some activity or as a volunteer or as a donor or any other ways that people could get involved, how would they do that? What's the process for?
The way that most people start to get involved is usually going to our website and then signing up for our email communications. You're getting information about upcoming events. You're getting information about the advocacy opportunities and all of our education. I didn't even mention that we do teen and adult bike classes and travel training. So if people are interested in learning more about how to ride the bus here in Durham or use the scooters, ride the train, we have staff that are able to support. We have a membership model. Then that's the core of supporting the organization financially and also in building our political influence in order to make the changes, the advocacy changes that we were. People also, as I mentioned, can come to those monthly meetings. You can find the calendar for that on our website, and that's a great way to get to know the people and start to form the community.
Yeah, that's great. So Bike Durham came to ReCity in 2018 before you were in the role that you're in now. Can you talk at all about being at ReCity?
Yeah. My understanding is that the board at the time and the core volunteers back in 2018 were looking for a place to meet on a regular basis, to have their board meetings, to have committee meetings, to do their volunteer stuff. And they wanted a space where they felt aligned with the values and the mission of the organization. The story about finding ReCity but landing here felt like a good fit because it was flexible in terms of the space needs, being able to, have some rooms that were available for meetings, having the common space, and the affordability at the time was great for an organization that was very, very lean. When I came on at the beginning of 2020, I was here for a few times. I was the only staff person. When the pandemic started, I really found the regular Zoom gatherings to be effective and a way for me to stay connected to other people. As that ended and came back to the space, the other thing that has been really valuable is the capacity for us to grow into the space or along with the space. Yeah, so we're now 10 staff, 6 of us are full-time, and we've been able to have dedicated cube space as we've needed it, because ReCity has expanded in the amount of space that's available. So that, and then building the relationships with all the other folks that are here. We've done stuff with Echo, we've done stuff with Step Up and a number of the other organizations. It's been really rewarding.
Yeah, that's cool. It's been fun to watch the growth of Bike in terms of staff and impact over the years. So that's been, you guys, as I mentioned, are a great partner. We love having you here. We love having your whole team here and how engaged your team is with people in the space. It feels like there's a lot of good alignment and a lot of joy in being able to share the space with you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about your own journey from what you were doing to doing this and why you're doing this? And
I had worked for more than 21 years at Go Triangle, the regional public transportation agency, and left at the end of May in 2019, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And somewhere along that summer, a friend of mine and colleague from Go Triangle reminded me that he and I had had a conversation that I had expressed interest in one day leading a nonprofit advocacy organization around these issues. Yeah. And he was involved with Bike Durham, the board and the volunteers, and knew that they were starting to think about if they want to have a bigger impact, they really need a staff person who can be a consistent presence and drive those changes. And I was intrigued, and he made the connection between me and those board members at the end of 2019. And what really was interesting to me was the broader mission, that it was really about safe, affordable, and sustainable transportation. I had spent some time that summer after leaving my job and decided the things that I wanted to work on were climate issues and racial equity, and to do it within the context of the issues that I knew, which were transportation. And that felt like a great fit. The other thing that was quickly understood was that the board members trusted me and that they were going to be supportive. And that felt really good, that I was being micromanaged on the one hand. It wasn't like they were totally absent on the other hand. That was a good fit. And those really the first year and year and a half was rewarding to be like the organization had never really been asking for financial support from their members beyond the $35 or the $60 for those membership fees. And the community responded. We were able to get some grants, some sponsorship money, and have just been able to grow from there.
I'm glad you made that transition. The work that you guys are doing, you in particular, is super important. So thank you for caring about our community in this way. Thank you so much for being part of the ReCity Network family.
Thank you very much.
At times, it feels like justice in our country is on life support.
The dream of equality is alive. We can still hear free at last echo in our souls. But sadly, our dream is yet to be realized.
There's so much work to be done, and that work is our purpose.
Our mission is to help rewrite the story of not just our city, but our nation.
We know that when justice is restored, so are people.
Imagine cities like yours uniting to find solutions to end injustice everywhere.
Together, we can reinvest in our communities,
refocus our vision,
reimagine our future.
We are a place, we are a people, we are a purpose.
We are ReCity.